Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Memphis Conservative channel. If you have subscribed already, please subscribe and hit that like button and share this video and comment down below. So shout out to the Daily Caller for this one. So what do we have right here? Santa impersonator among 19 busted in undercover alleged child predator sting. So without further ado, let's get right into it. A 68-year-old Santa Claus impersonator is among 19 individuals who were recently arrested during an undercover sting to catch alleged child sexual predators in Florida, authorities said. Thomas Hicks of Lakeland, Florida, has been charged with human trafficking, traveling to meet a minor, use of a computer to seduce a child, and use of a two-way communication device to commit a felony. According to a Wednesday Polk County Sheriff's Office (PCSO) press release, Polk County Sheriff's Office Grady Judd, I like that guy. When he come to the podium out there in Florida to speak, he don't play. Grady Judd said Hicks is a well-known Santa Claus impersonator in Polk County, Central Florida, and Lakeland, which means he's one of those Santa Claus that people have every year. They come to the mall, that the kids sit on his lap, take a picture. You know how they do. Used to do the Easter Bunny and stuff like that too. I don't know if they still do it. I know when we was little growing up, that's they used to do that for Santa Claus and Easter Bunny and stuff when it's that time. Hicks allegedly responded to an advertisement on a known prostitution website from an undercover detective offering his fictional teenage daughter for commercial X acts, according to the outlet. So Hicks knew that there was a known site for prostitution. So that's already been established and it's been clear on it. Hicks allegedly told the undercover detective he would pay $200 to have X with the girl and described the X acts he wanted to perform on her in explicit detail, but claimed he would be gentle. Really? Yeah, I'm glad they got him. This man is sick. Claimed he would be gentle, according to the PC SO. In addition, Hicks also allegedly told the undercover detective he was hesitant to accept the offer posted in the advertisement because he feared being caught in a potential sting. So that's his face right there. Let's see. Can I get this audio to play?
And I'll be really easy with her. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how dangerous these people are. So how about his criminal history? Zero criminal history. How about the remorse he showed when he was arrested? Zero remorse when he was arrested. The only thing he was concerned about was his reputation as Santa Claus. Interestingly enough, after our investigation's over with, we embed Chris Hansen, and you remember him from the old To Catch a Predator day. He has a program, and he goes with undercovers across the nation. He was with us. Tom Hicks talked to Chris for 40 minutes. and told him some really remarkable things. Well, I understand Chris is supposed to be on Jesse Waters tonight, and he'll probably share more details with you there or either on True Blue. But I want you to understand that the person behind this happy face is a deviant. He's a pedophile. And we have presented felonies to our state attorney and his ace #1 team, and we will do our best to keep him locked up in prison for the rest of his life. And we're broadcasting this today because, in addition to that, if by some chance he were to get out in the future, we want to make sure he is no longer a Santa Claus. I told him, and he's pissed. I just want to let you know. Santa Claus said, it's people like that that give me a bad reputation. And here I spent all this time going all around the world, delivering presents to wonderful little boys and girls. Sheriff, I'm glad you got him locked up. Well, he wasn't the only one. Now, I've just picked out a few. Every one of these are deviants. Some of them, one of them was on public assistance. That's right, yours a month for him to sexually seek out children. Every one of these folks were looking to hurt children. So how about Ahmad Morrissey? He's 36 from Spring Hill. Do you know he's from Egypt? And he was a dentist in Egypt. And when he came to this country, of course, he couldn't practice as a dentist. So he was a dental hygienist for the Sharab SH locked up in jail. All of these folks are still in jail. You know, he admitted to having sex with this child. He said, I looked at Florida law to see how young I could legally have sex with people. I thought she was 16. Well, he doesn't read English real well because he cannot have sex with a child at 16, but that's not who he thought he was attacking here. So what he did, because he wanted to make this a special evening, he brought marinated chicken. So he was going to cook chicken, marinated chicken. For the child or felonies. As a result, we hope he goes to prison for a long time. And then there's Lonnie Hill Sr. He's 62. He traveled about 3 hours from Riviera Beach. Our detective from the Orlando Police Department worked with us. He had been grooming her, thinking she was a child, for 5 weeks. For 5 weeks. And he traveled to Lakeland. She, as the undercover, said, well, I'm going to Lakeland to be with my aunt this weekend. And he said, great, I'll meet you in Lakeland. So he rented a Motel 6. So he already had the motel room in check. And he was ready to take her there. The undercover said, well, will you bring condoms? We don't need a 13-year-old girl pregnant. So we have video evidence of him just before meeting her at a park. At least he thought it was a her. Going into the local store to purchase condoms. He resisted and broke his leg. And as a result of great work by our undercover from Orlando Police, this guy is going to prison for a very long time, we hope, as well. And then, of course, there's the Uber driver, Noah Berman, from 33, from Orlando. That's right. He brought a fare over to Lakeland and thought, hey, while I'm here, why don't I go ahead and have sex with a 14-year-old boy? Interestingly enough, as this investigation unfolded, we found out that the Orange County Sheriff's Office is working a sexual battery investigation from 2019 against him, where he supposedly sexually battered a 15 or a 16-year-old child. That's under investigation. He has not been charged, but he has confessed. They're still wrapping up the investigation. In and around this time, he worked for Boys Town of Central Florida. Now, Boys Town is a very well-respected organization to help young men and young ladies in trouble. So he no longer works there, and we are working with Boys Town as well. This guy is hugely dangerous. And then there's George Bradley. He's 39. He works in IT at Publix. He's married. His wife is 10 weeks pregnant with their child. But he came to have sex with a 14-year-old boy. He has no criminal history. Think about this. He left his pregnant wife at home thinking he was going to have sex with a 14-year-old little boy. You can't fix these people. We got a hitch in their giddy up. Their elevator don't go all the way to the top. It stops at P, pedophile floor. It stops at P, predator floor. It stops at C, child predator floor. These are dangerous people. I could go on about all of them, but I think you get the point. The detectives from the sheriff's office, my team, is simply the very best, and we amass the very best from around the state to work with us on these operations. And you're going to hear from our state attorney and certainly from our CFO, some of the professionals that they assigned to this case to make sure that we could make the best case. But I want to take one more second for you to understand. They travel to a park, to a location, thinking they were having sex with your children. And they would have groomed and had sex with your children had these wonderful detectives not done their job. With that, let me introduce you to Mr. Haas, our state attorney.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to start by saying thank you to Sheriff Judd. I cannot think of one single person who has done more to take on these child predators over his career. Just this one operation alone has potentially saved countless children from being victimized. And if you think of all of the work that he's done over the years with his great detectives, what an incredible individual. And just to stand up here, I'm proud to stand with him. The detectives that worked on these cases, they do an amazing job. They've got to do their job, but they have to anticipate, legal defenses, criminal defenses that may come up because we've got to prosecute these cases now. It's very important to arrest them. It's very important to get them off the streets, but my team is ready to prosecute these cases and put these people where they belong. But cumulatively, it must be so tough for these detectives to have to deal with this subject matter again and again and again. So a big thank you to them. As a parent, and for everyone out there, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, or just somebody in your life that's a kid that you care a lot about, this just leaves a pit in my stomach when I read some of this stuff. And I think of people who are in positions of trust and respect in our community that would do this to a child. And here's the unsettling thing. They're out there right now trying to figure a way to get to your children. We're going to do what we can with these folks here and the ones that have come before. But right now, there are people that are working very hard to try to find your children. So if you think that you've got great locks on your house, or that you have an alarm system, or that you're real careful, you're not doing your job. They're making their way around the physical barriers and talking directly to your children. So get involved. This should be a wake-up call for everyone. I cannot think of another place besides Polk County that would have more information out there for parents, yet it still happens here all the time. So please take that message to heart and watch out for your kids. So appreciate all the work that was done here, and we're ready to get to work and do some prosecution. Thank you.
I want to introduce once again our CFO, Blaze Ngoya. He's taken that office to the next level and the next level and the next level. And it is very impressive to us that you care so much about the children, so much about making sure that the bad guys are locked up and that our children are safe, that you sent us a whole team of folks. So thank you for taking the office to the next level and the next level. And thank you for the huge presence during this operation.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Blaze Ngoya. I'm the CFO of the great state of Florida. It is an honor to serve in that position. Most of you know that, my big jobs these days are rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse from government. I'm the state fire marshal, but what many people may not know is that I actually have a whole law enforcement division. We have 300 sworn law enforcement officers working underneath our office, and we spend most of our time with financial crimes. We're putting people away for escrow violations, stealing money, insurance fraud. Recently, we put, I think it was 10 or 12 state employees away in jail for stealing about $1.7 million. But with that law enforcement division, I saw that there was an opportunity. This is an issue that is near and dear to my heart. So we have reached out to law enforcement, and the sheriff has been leading on this issue here with these sting operations. I said, hey, if we have law enforcement, we want to be able to help. So we want to be able to repurpose some of our people and add value to what the sheriffs are doing in terms of going after these online predators. And while I'm here, I want to personally thank each and every one of not only my law enforcement officers, but every law enforcement officer who is part of these sting operations, the detectives who've collected all the information and the receipts to hand over to our state's attorney so we can get these bad guys put in jail. A heartfelt thank you for that. Now, I have been, like I said, this is sort of a passion of mine, putting these people away. I'm doing it now as CFO because I am passionate about it, and I was passionate about it when I was in the legislature. As a state senator, we had worked with the state's attorney's office in figuring out new ways so we can put some of these people behind bars. I had developed a grant program at the state where law enforcement can go and draw down money in terms of technologies to help run these sting operations. So I'm so passionate about this. I've actually been on the inside of these sting operations. I have been in the room when some of this chatting has been going on. And I will tell you, and this is the scary part, and this is what I want everyone to understand, that as soon as they flip that switch, when it is go time, and they open up the chats and they start receiving all the information. As soon as they flip that switch, they're getting flooded with people just like these. And it is nonstop. But these are the people that they actually got arrested. I will tell you that there are hundreds, if not thousands more, that are not being caught because they're just evading. They don't have, but it's not going to stop these guys. They're going to continue going after these people as much as they possibly can. But every parent needs to understand that when you hand your child a smartphone and they're on their the smartphone, these guys are waiting for your child to log on. There is no better picture than to look at if you guys if parents want your kids talking to these guys after hours, there's something wrong with you. And that's why we need to make sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to protect our children from these online predators, from the online harm. And look, here's we were talking before we come up here, and it came up that, a bank robber once said, why did you go rob the bank? And the answer was because that's where the money is there. When they do these operations and they are online in chat rooms and on social media, why are they doing it? Because that's where the predators are. So when you're handing your kid a smartphone, you're handing them the ability for some of these child predators to reach out and groom your kid for nefarious purposes. Whether it be sexual abuse material, whether it be child porn, whether it being meet up to have sex with an underage kid, it is reprehensible. It is a sickness, and every single one of these people will eventually go to jail. It is only a matter of time. I know that our law enforcement cares about it. I know our sheriff cares about it. All the sheriffs, all the police chiefs. I know that the governor, the cabinet, I personally care about this, and we will not rest until we put each and every one of these people behind bars so they can never, ever hurt another child again. But the parents of the children in this sting actually got lucky. And they got lucky because the person these child predators were talking to were detectives and law enforcement officers who were on the other side of that phone. But that is not always the case. Sometimes you will have, not sometimes, many of the times, you'll have a mom and a dad sit there and contact the state's attorney's office, contact the sheriff's office, contact the police chief, and say that, hey, we think our child is being groomed, and there is somebody on the other end of that phone that is making sexually suggestive comments, sending nudes, requesting nudes, transmitting child porn. And what happens? I'm going to tell you this is what happens. I'm going to be very, very, very critical of the social media industry right now in big tech. Because what happens, and the state's attorneys will tell you this, and they will verify this. You talk to any state's attorney, any prosecutor, any detective, and they will all tell you the same thing, is that the unlucky ones are the parents and the kids that actually go and try to have this information brought to them, and then they want the proof. But where's the proof? The proof somehow disappears. Because these social medias, the big tech oligarchs are sitting there. Now everything is end-to-end encryption. Now they have disappearing messages. You guys all know that all the criminals are using the social media platforms to go after the kids, to attract kids, to have conversation with these kids, because they know they are using the system where there is disappearing messages. I do not think that it's right. It would be much easier to put a lot of these scumbags away if we were able to get the evidence, and the evidence was not destroyed by some of these big tech companies. The last time I checked, destroying evidence in a criminal investigation was a crime, was it not? Maybe we should take some of these social media executives and charge them with the destruction of evidence during a crime, and maybe they should spend 5 years in jail. This is how important this is.
I agree.
I cannot tell you how many times I hear these stories of parents or from state's attorneys saying, hey, we tried to put the bad guy in jail, but we put a request in to the social media company and they say that they can't do anything. The information is gone. Please do not tell me with a straight face that you cannot retrieve this information. With everything that we can do technology-wise, and you have a 65-year-old man, a 78-year-old man, a 46-year-old man talking to your 12 or 13-year-old child, and you cannot retrieve those messages, the messages that could be used in a court of law to put these scumbags away so they don't hurt another child, the social media companies need to ask themselves a very simple question. Are you here to protect the kids, or are you here to protect the criminals and the profits? That's the question that should be asked of every single social media executive in this country today. Because the last time I checked, we're here to protect kids, not embolden criminals to go after our kids online and use the excuse of privacy. Privacy does not hold up in a court of law. Evidence does. And if you are destroying evidence, I believe you should go to jail also.
Thank you very much. And for those that are in charge of these big companies, maybe you should listen to your wife, because I'm sure she would say, you're protecting those evil people that are trying to attack children. What if they were attacking our child? We've got to hold them accountable. So next, we're going to speak with us Terry Story. He's the police chief of Auburndale. He is shoulder to shoulder with us in all of our major investigations. He retired from the sheriff's office. He's a dear friend of mine. He's a professional in every sense of the word, but we enjoy working together just as we always have. But now we have a force multiplier with the Auburndale Police Department. Chief, come on up.
Thank you, Sheriff. I actually paid.
I think that was enough though on that. I'm just kind of getting tired. Sorry. So that's just the fruit that they didn't, been coming across. And I like the way that Florida's out there and they are actually cracking down on this. The guy he mentioned, Jim Hansen or whatever, that is catch a child's predator and stuff. I used to see. I watched some of his content and stuff, and actually, as it was actually, they were actually out there, boots on the ground with that stuff, and they was getting those people caught up. I think that is a very good thing, and but yeah, this kind of stuff is serious. Like they said, parents nowadays, a lot of them. I'm not saying all, that's not true, but a lot of these parents nowadays, they just get a child a phone, a tablet, or some of them, for them to get on social media and stuff like that, or YouTube or anything, just to get them about their face to leave them alone. Here, take this, go on in there. You see what I'm saying? So we need to get, when it comes down to this kind of stuff, we gotta get back to the word I'm looking for, the strict parenting. Because when I was young, I just get mad when I was little, but at that time, they didn't understand. Mom just coming down, while you weren't even there. Mom just, she'd been in my room, rambling through stuff, dresser drawers, closets, stuff like that. Maybe this might be a hiding space for something. And then she did find anything or whatever. She's like, "What is this right here?" I'm like, "Mom, what you doing back there in my room? Like, it's invading my privacy. You ain't got no privacy here. I pay these bills." At that time, mad, didn't understand, but as I got older, she gave a damn. As we're supposed to do. Go through your child things. Make sure, because and it is multiple stories of, oh, this child here brought a gun to school. He didn't just find it in the garbage can or the dumpster on the way to school, so he had to had it in the house. They never talk about that part. Where did he get it from? It came from this house, because this is where he left when he on his way to school. You don't know what's in your house, up under your roof. But we come down to this kind of stuff with I bring up all that to say, in other words, when you get these kids these phones and all of that kind of stuff, you got to monitor that stuff. Check up on it. Get their phone. If they in their sleep, get their phone. Go through it. See where they last been at, and all of that. That's why I brought up the other thing, what I said a second ago. I didn't try to deviate from this right here, what I was talking about and showing. But we need to know what our kids are doing on these phones. Snapchat, all of those kind of stuff. But let me get back to this. Authorities arrested Hicks after he let the undercover detective know he would be in the parking lot of a major retail store. The outlet reported. Following his arrest, Hicks allegedly told authorities he regularly visits known prostitution sites, seeking prostitutes or companions despite being married for more than 50 years. He allegedly claimed he was intrigued by the teenage girl in the advertisement and kept coming back to it, despite worrying about being caught in a sting. Fox 13 News reported, citing the arrest affidavit, the suspect acknowledged he should not think about or have contact with the fictitious teenage girl, according to the arrest affidavit. His claim he was a preacher and worked at Tri-County Human Services as a marketing manager. His employment has been terminated following his arrest, a spokesperson told Fox 13 News. There's screaming, that's good. He did not have access to clients electronic health records and was unable to obtain child-related information during his employment. Okay, now that's good too. They was monitoring that. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd reacted to Hicks' arrest. He's not going to be Santa Claus this next year, Judge said, according to the outlet. I don't blame him. Thousands and thousands and thousands of children have sat on this guy's lap thinking he was Santa Claus when in fact he was a child ex-predator. Imagine that. The 18 other suspects were arrested on similar charges for a total of 85 felonies and 8 misdemeanors. This shouldn't be no misdemeanor charges in there. Everything should be felonies. So, what I was going to say, well, actually, let me see something. The 18 other suspects were arrested for a total of 85 felonies. And okay, so all of them got that. Well, that was misdemeanor. I want to know what those misdemeanor charges were. Everything dealing with this, everything should be a felony. The PCSO began the undercover operation on April 20th with assistance from various law enforcement agencies. So I'm glad that they caught this guy. And like you said, this guy plays Santa Claus every year, and he's known for playing a Santa Claus every year, maybe at a mall or something like that out there. And all these kids go sit on his lap and all of that kind of stuff. So, but I'm glad they did this thing bust, and I'm glad they got him. And like I said, they named some other, they was just telling parents, be aware of what your child is doing when it comes down to this kind of stuff. Be aware of it. Talk to them. Tell them about those kind of things. Anybody touch you let me know, and that kind of stuff. We need to be real strict on this stuff right there every day, because it's a lot of sick-minded people out here. And then he said one guy when they arrested, remember in the video that the audio of it that I let you hear, said that the guy said, well, I do my research and go to state to see what's the age and if I can have X with a 16-year-old. You know why he said that? We have 50 states in the United States. Those of you that don't know, 31 of our 50 states, the age consent is 16 years old. He's not the first time that I've seen a story and they said that they actually Google or type in the state where if they can have actual content with a 16-year-old in that state. That's sick. If you actually are looking for those states. Oh, we can't do it here. I can't do it there. Oh, I could go here and do it. That's sick. And I guarantee you look up though to see when those laws right there went straight into effect like that. I don't know what side it came on. Was those some laws made by Democrats or was some laws made by Republicans? It don't matter. I feel like that was wrong, but I will tell you this. Now this the shocking of it. That it went up when that right there was set with those states that age consent is 16. Excuse me. It was a little lower than that at first, and they moved it up to 16. That's the shocking of it. Well, thanks for stopping by at the Memphis Conservatives channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and share this video. This video right here needs to get out. These kind of videos that right here that I do needs to get out. If you don't share nothing else of mine, these kind of videos needs to get out. Share this video. Hit that like button. That gets the video out too as well. And let me know your comments down below on this. I'd like to know y'all thoughts on this. Peace.